All righty. Yay. Okay. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight is adaptability. Okay. So anyway, let's see. Okay. So can you record? I'm ready. I can't see you, so I'm
recording.
Okay. Okay, so we want to welcome you to our Soul Share tonight. We are very excited you're here, and our goal is to help you have massive success with your program. And if you haven't started a soul program yet, it's okay. If you're brand new and you're like, I don't even know what this soul thing is, it's okay. You're in the right place. If you're, or if you're a new member or even a member who has taken your program for a while, that's great too. You're in the right place because this gathering, you guys are our honored guests, and this gathering's all about you tonight. So as we're going through the slides tonight, if you could just jot down your questions so that at the end of it, you can get in contact with your mentor and they will help guide you in a program to help you. And also go ahead and chat in because we have some prizes at the end we're going to be giving away. And so chat in your name. We also need, if you're a guest, a member, or a specialist after your name, okay? And if there's any guests here, and they see, the mentor sees that they haven't chatted in, please help them out, okay? So that we get all our guests in the drawing. All right. So again, welcome. My name is Denise Norbut, and I'm going to be hosting tonight. I'm also going to share a few insights from my about 30 years of working with clients. I'm a holistic health practitioner. And so I've seen some patterns and some things that have kind of some mindset things that help people be successful and also maybe hold them back a little in their success. So I'm going to share some of those insights with you. And then, of course, we're going to get to hear from our president. So if you are new to soul, like you're not really even sure what it is, I thought we would kind of give you a little definition. So really, soul helps families thrive through a new generation of supplements. These are products that strengthen both body and mind at the same time. So what makes them a new generation of supplements? Basically, one of the biggest reasons is because they use something called adaptogens. It's a class of herbs that really do several things, but let's just say for tonight's purposes, because we covered that in another lesson, that they help make us adaptable. They help us weather the storms of life. And so that's kind of the angle that we're going to talk about tonight. So adaptogens, and the fact that every product has at least one adaptogen in it, but many of them have more than that, is really makes this a new generation because Soul was the first company to ever do that, to have the vision to make an adaptogenic line. Also, you can see they're color coded. We also talk about that on another lesson. And so that kind of cuts through the noise and all the options that we have in this crazy world where it helps cut through the noise. It helps make things simple, the color coding. So that also is new. And then synergy is another thing, because each and every product has different herbs put together. It's kind of like 1 + 1 = 3. And that's what synergy is. I know that's not bad math, that's synergy. And really, So each and every product by itself has synergy, but when you put them together in a program, magic happens. Okay, that is when it makes it way more efficient to tap into synergy. So Soul is expert at doing that. Let's see. So I want to share with you something that is near and dear to my heart. This is a picture of my daughter-in-law and my grandbabies. Well, they're not babies anymore, as you can see. But if you don't know my daughter-in-law, some of you do, she has the biggest heart of anybody you're ever going to want to meet. She's the kindest person ever. And when I met her 15 years ago, when my son started dating her, she had terrible digestive issues. And we made so much progress with her with that issue, with high quality supplements. And then 7 years ago, when I discovered Soul, I shared them with her because this picture of them homeschooling and enjoying their outside art project was not the picture that was 7 years ago in their home. And Carrie was frustrated. She really didn't know where to turn because she had this little munchkin right here was 2, and this munchkin was 3. And even though she said that, you know, she had a great life, my son was a great provider, a great husband, a great father. She, you know, she had all of her needs taken care of. She couldn't understand why she couldn't weather the storms of life. It felt like everything was closing in on her. And she described it as sometimes when my son would come home from work, that she would be in the fetal position on the floor because she had just reached her limit. And of course, my son didn't know what to do because he was doing all he could do already. But this is what she was sitting at my dining room table just a couple of weeks ago. And this is what she said to me. She said, I had gotten great results from taking high quality supplements before, but Soul changed me as a person. She realized that it wasn't just these storms of life, but for all of her life, she struggled emotionally. And this is one of the things that Soul does. It works physically, mentally, emotionally. And so I'm so grateful that I have my daughter-in-law able to do this. And next year they're starting a homeschool co-op, and she's going to be teaching there. And, you know, the family is doing great. So I'm so grateful for the Soul herbs. And okay, and this is the man that had the vision to create this. And we actually have a slide later in the class where you're going to get to know why he had the vision to start this company and to use adaptogens. So I'm looking forward to hearing from him. First of all, I'm going to share a little bit of introduction before he tells us about one of my favorite products. So last week, Satinka did an excellent job of going over like the foundation of wellness. So there are certain things that we need in our life to be healthy. We need hydration, we need sleep, we need movement, tabletop nutrition. We need to be conscious of what we're putting in our mouths from our table, right? The food that we eat on a regular basis. And we know that is not cutting it these days, that our food is not what it used to be. Like when I was growing up, it's totally different. And so we need the countertop nutrition. And of course, that's our wonderful adaptogenic Soul combinations. And so we need both those, and we need the mindset, which Soul helps with. We heard from about Carrie. And so I want to really focus tonight on the mindset and some of the things that I've seen in working with clients that might hold them back from getting the very best results that they could get with the right mindset. So let's go on. Storms are a part of life. Carrie experienced them. I've experienced them. I would venture to say, if I was a betting person, I would be willing to bet that even just last week, that you had a storm in your life of some kind. And it doesn't have to be a huge life-threatening, although it could be, or, debilitating storm. Sometimes just like the Chinese water torture, the little storms can add up. But with the right mindset and the adaptogens, we can weather the storms. So, as we grow, we gain strength. I want you to think of being on a soul program as an exercise in consistency over time. Because, this little sapling does not get to be a tree. And this isn't even a full-grown tree like we saw before. There are stages, and as we grow, right? And so the longer we're on a soul program, and it is actually one of the characteristics of adaptogens, that the longer you're on them, the more effective they become. And that's because you're getting that nutrition, you're getting that flexibility, you're getting that ability to adapt to the storms so that they don't totally debilitate us. And so think about it. If you are in the middle of this storm and you're that little sapling, which one is going to have more strength? Or is that tree that we saw before going to have more strength? The thing about it is that we are going to encounter storms in our life, which might make us think, oh, the herbs aren't working anymore, right? And I have seen that if people think that, they might quit, right? Because they think, oh, it's just not working. But it's just that there could be a couple of things going on. One is that your body is just going through a stage of healing, and it needs to be, it needs to have time. So, or it could be that it's just one of those things that happens in life. And, depending on where we are, we're just going to get stronger the more we stick to a program and the more it feeds our body and helps us grow. So if you think about it, that large tree that we saw, and actually, there's one thing I forgot to mention about that. It was actually 2 trees, wasn't it? Because we're going to talk a lot about mentorship too, and how important it is. And I liked that because it's kind of like the little tree was being mentored by the big tree, right? But in any case, which tree would withstand the storms better? It's just the longer that you use adaptogens, the stronger you'll become. And so it's kind of the difference between the medical mindset and the holistic mindset of working on the roots instead of the leaves of the tree. The leaves are the symptoms. The roots are the things that we do to build health every day. Over time, makes that huge tree that is ever growing and ever more able to withstand the storms. So now I would like to, I can't see anything, so I know Greg is here, and it's time to hear from Greg about one of my favorite products. I do want to say one thing about how this product changed my life before Greg comes on. Okay, Greg, so just a second. So I don't know if any of you have a kid or have it yourself, the monkey mind that just never calms down. And so I have struggled with that my whole life. And I have used herbs for, decades and decades, like most of my life, and solved a lot of problems. But just like my daughter-in-law, Carrie, I didn't really realize that I struggled with depression I didn't realize that the struggle with my mind going places that I didn't necessarily want it to go, but I didn't feel like I had control over it. This is one product, and I take a soul program, so this is part of a program. But I will tell you, like, even today I have storms in my life. Okay, and so it's been a day where I practice synergy, and I mixed renew with cinnamate, this drink, because it helps my brain function when I need to teach, when I've had a day that is a little difficult. So anyway, I am so grateful for this drink because it took me 60 years to find peace in my brain, and soul was why I am able to achieve that. So anyway, Greg, would you take it away and tell us about this fantastic drink?
You bet, Denise. Thanks so much for that great information. I always love listening from to your experiences. And over the years, I've known, for those who might be a little newer and don't know Denise, I've actually had the blessing of knowing her for all of Soul's years and a few years before then, as we were both part of another company prior to the founding of Soul. And I think she just has a special gift with people. And I'm so glad you're sharing, because all that experience needs to be shared so that we can all have it. Cinnamate is a perfect product to feature with this topic of sort of the right mindset for health and what needs to happen for us to maintain or regain that mindset, maintain it and hold on to it. That whole topic of consistency and building on things, building on our nutrition, that's the perfect topic for cinnamate, for this formula. It really was the way, in a very unique way, that this product was formed intentionally, because you can kind of look at the right side of the slide and see its benefits. Okay, we look really briefly at it. It balances sugar in the blood. I want to come back to why that is so forever important on a daily basis, why that's important. Craving controls. What kinds of things our body needs and is giving us messages we need. Okay, that's another super interesting benefit that really branches out into all the different aspects of health. Stamina or energy. I think it's fair to say, and I think Denise and others would agree with me, it's now a little over 30 years for me being around this industry. And I would, more than just around it, living inside it and being able to travel around extensively. And I think it's safe to say that most people, a very high percentage, walk around with energy lacking, would answer that question, I don't have enough energy, because we're not just talking about physical energy to make it through the day. We're also talking about mental energy, mental focus, emotional energy, that feeling of strength, because the storms are out there and they're moving around, right? That kind of energy and stamina. Most of us just we're not able to meet life the way we're meant to, which is pretty strong, pretty happy all the time. That's the way I believe we should all be. So cinnamate addresses that. Digestive energy, it does help the way the body absorbs and converts nutrients into energy. And then it's a really wonderful immune modulator. I mean, you could say immune strengthener because they're one and the same to me. Modulate is that where it's weak, it provides this blend of herbs. It provides what the body needs to strengthen itself. Where it's overactive, it modulates so that the body has a correct and a balanced immune response. That's something we could come back to too. But let's start a little bit just in general with cinnamate. Why is it such a good nutritional builder? Because it is wonderful building both emotional and physical health. And I know it's easy for me to say those two things, but this is a very specific statement. It builds emotional health and physical health. It's not that it does it for us and we do nothing. Of course, we have to do our part. Denise mentioned that. But we can do our part and not have the resource, the nutritional resource, and find ourselves not getting there and then we judge ourselves, feel like it's a defect, feel like it's something wrong in us and not in others. That is false. I hope if you remember, if you're newer tonight, and you remember one thing from this, that is false. Nutrition, most people accept, can change the way you physically feel, and just as readily and just as effectively, it changes how we feel emotionally and mentally. Why? What changes it? Well, it needs to be really nutrient-dense nutrition and very, very complete. In other words, it containing many different types of nutrients. So this is where Cinnamate comes in and fits the bill so wonderfully. Did you know that the marquee ingredient of Cinnamate, yerba mate, there are 5 ingredients, 5 principal ingredients. The marquee ingredient, yerba mate, contains almost 200. One of the best reports I've seen, you can see some slight variation in reports, 196 vitamins, minerals, amino acids, over 15 of those. Plant compounds known to play key roles in health. For instance, here's a great example. 3 plant compounds that elevate our body's alertness, circulation, and metabolic activity. 3 of those. I'll give you an example. So when you classify these wonderful therapeutic compounds in plants, there are 3 general categories Dr. Allison teaches us. Now, Dr. Allison, if you're newer, is the chief scientific advisor of Soul Naturals, did her postdoc at Yale, is a clinical psychologist and also an herbalist, spent time at faculty at Yale Medical Center, has adjudicated medical articles and written them. She's sort of been on every side of this type of investigation and science, and yet has the openness to not sort of look on one side of science and not see the rest. She's very open mind. And one of the recent trainings, she talked about 3 major categories that you could put all of the wonderful therapeutics and plants into. One of those categories is alkaloids. They call them alkaloids. Part of the alkaloid group are xanthine, so xanthine alkaloids. This group is the group that elevates and lifts. Caffeine that you find in certain plants, theobromine, theophylline, theobromine, which you find in chocolate, cocoa beans or cacao, and theophylline. All 3 of these work in different ways, but they simultaneously stimulate but relax smooth muscle in the body. Why is that important? They're actually, when they're in a natural state, they actually are elevators in a balanced way. So non-addictive, they don't produce a crash after this lifting effect, and they're very complete and quite long lasting. Well, what's so interesting about this, usually you'll find one of those, plants will have one of those categories. Yerba mate has all 3 of them. And the caffeine in it is actually a different form of caffeine, and has been called by the scientists who have done the research matine instead of caffeine. It's very similar to caffeine, and that's why the similar name. But the matine strengthens the heart. And so what these 3 aspects of Cinnamate do, they're the very opposite of typical stimulants in the market. Stimulants in the marketplace will cause sleep problems, can cause agitation, can raise blood pressure, can literally bring with them side effects that aren't really great in our search for energy and nutrition and focus. Well, these actually do the opposite. In fact, clinical studies have proven they actually will lower blood pressure. They actually are not addictive and improve sleep. And literally on the opposite side of the scale of what typically you might find from substances that are derived synthetically from these components. These natural components in yerba mate are actually brick by brick health strengtheners. Over time, over day throughout the day, if a person chooses more than once, or weeks or months, what they'll find is their body is better, like Denise said, at weathering those storms. There's more strength, there's better focus, and you can increase or decrease the amount that you drink of cinnamate according to the need you have, according to what's going on, and you don't need to worry about it. Because Denise mentioned adaptogens. There are several in this formula, and adaptogens have as one of their salient characteristics, safe for daily use and in the levels necessary. I just want to add that cinnamate isn't what heals. The plants aren't what cure. The body does that. The body's always has these amazing processes, and so many of the studies, they'll show a result, and the scientists will conclude, as Dr. Allison reminds us, it's not clear how this happened. It's not clear why this happened. It's not clear exactly to what extent, and yet the results are seen because what these wonderful natural substances do is work with the body in its natural processes to find that balance, to restore that energy. So cinnamate is simply a very well-balanced, very highly nutritious, lifting formula that could be part of anyone's herbal program, and is always useful, and was one of the very two founding signature drinks, as we call them here in Solle, of the company that we featured last year in our 10th anniversary. So Denise, I know that's a little bit of a walk through certain aspects of cinnamate, but I hope that kind of positions a little bit the importance of this product and how useful it can be in all these areas. I apologize I didn't get back to some of the other benefits. I spent more time on that stamina and lifting and brain balancing part of cinnamate, but it is something that is quite surprising, I think, and unknown to people. Were it known, this would not be a secret that you have to find on a Zoom. It just would be commonly known, and that's kind of our mission, is to share the information. Anyway, back to you, Denise.
Yeah, Greg, just real quick, could you describe, like, if we went to the store and we just bought like mate tea, how is that different than the mate in cinnamate?
Yeah, great question. So if you buy any of the bagged teas and you're going to steep them and extract what you can, and then you're actually throwing away in the tea bag a bunch of nutrients that won't come out with your tea extraction. In other words, putting hot water and leaving it for some period of time. What we have here is not a tea. We actually have yerba mate fully extracted, so that when you absorb it into the, when it dissolves into the water, or suspends is a better word, when it suspends into the water, whether it's hot or cold, doesn't matter. You can drink it either way. You're actually getting all the nutrients, and there's a wide range you won't get, though you're going to get a lot. Honestly, a lot of this highly nutritious plant comes out in the tea, but we want all of it. And that's why, that's kind of what can make the difference. And people who are familiar with mate tea, oh, I've drunk that before. Why am I seeing this and this and this now that I'm drinking cinnamate? I thought I've already, well, not only are you getting a full extract, but of course you're getting the cinnamon, the nopal cactus, banana leaf, and thyme, these other wonderful, as you said, synergistic components that actually bring an additional benefit as well.
Yes, thank you. That's awesome. And in fact, I've never heard you say that before, so I love that. I love all the little nuggets that you bring and that you devote your time to us and to your mission of getting the word out about Solle. So thank you, Greg, so much. That was awesome.
You bet.
So basically, the bottom line is adaptogens plus you equals a beautifully balanced life. So it doesn't mean a perfect life with no storms. It means you have a balanced life so you can weather the storms better. So I really encourage you, if you're new and you haven't heard this, If you go to Soul Natural's YouTube channel, this is on there, and you recognize Greg here, and this is Donna's story. This is his wife, who really was the inspiration for starting Soul. And I wanted to really touch really quickly on mentorship. And Greg, I know that you have actually, you started Soul because of mentorship that you received. And so, you know what, let's wait until the end. I think I'll have you just think about that, because I want to have you share a little bit about how mentorship has impacted your life and why you set that system up with Soul. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if you can't find it on YouTube channel, ask your mentor. They'll send you the story because you don't want to miss it. It's going to give you insight into Soul, why it started, and also some of the power that Soul has if you haven't experienced it yet. Okay. So this is Troy and Val, and I know Val's on here. So Val, would you unmute? She has a story for us. That's her lovely husband and her. I love that picture. It's just joy all over, isn't it?
Thank you, Denise. And I chose that picture specifically, not only because it is the two of us, but it takes place roughly about the time this story takes place. And so for those of you who don't know, Troy was a career military man. And so that actually factors in. So if you spend 20 years in the military, in the Army in particular, what do most of those people reach for when they're tired? And that would be coffee, correct? So now that we've set the background, we'll say about 5 years ago, I was beginning to suspect that Troy had some underlying blood sugar issues. But whenever he would get tired and sit down and he'd tell me, no, that's not what's going on. I just need some more coffee. So he'd get up and make some coffee, and he would say that would fix everything. So somewhere around this same time period, we had a local doctor here who was open to holistic methods. In fact, she would send me her patients, and she was the one that authorized my grandmother to be on herbs whenever she finally did go into long-term care at the age of 99. So that gives you the background. She went to see this, or he went to see this doctor. She decides that she wants to run a blood glucose test. So I'm at my shop, and I know what time this test is going on. And I kid you not, it was like 20 minutes after I knew this was supposed to happen. He pops up, magically shows up in the store. I'm like, what's going on? He goes, oh, I was so good. I passed the test. I'm done. And I looked at him and said, you failed it, didn't you? He goes, yes. He goes, they panicked and ran from food and offered me anything and everything they could. So I just kind of tucked that away, didn't say anything until the next time he got tired when he was at home. And he says, oh, I'm tired again. I need some more coffee. I said, can we try something? I said, will you indulge me? I would like to give you a hot cinnamate. He goes, okay. Not only that, guys, I documented it and took a picture of this man. He's so tired, he can't even keep his eyes open. So I hand him the cinnamate right after I take this photo. And I walk away about 10 steps. I was probably working on my puzzle, who knows, whatever. And all of a sudden I hear him say, this is ridiculous. I said, what? He goes, I was so tired a while ago, I could not hold my eyes open. He goes, now I cannot make them close. I said, I told you, you've got underlying blood sugar stuff. He said, this is crazy. Now let's finish off the story. And let me tell you, when we got married 30 years ago, I was already in deep in all this way of life. He told me, he says, just so you know, I married you, not your way of life. You wouldn't know it now. This guy is 100% sold on Soul and takes it with him everywhere he goes. And let's just say Cinemate's in the motorcycle and in the truck and on the bar and everywhere, so it's available. And he doesn't reach for coffee anymore. He knows Cinemate.
That is awesome. I love that. Yeah, it's actually my son who is married to Carrie, like all the herbs that he's had in his life before Soul. He would like take them when there was something wrong, right? When the leaves were bothering him, and then he'd stop until the next time the leaves were bothering him, but he never thought about the root. But you know what? He started Soul and he's been taking Soul for 7 years. Yes, it's amazing because when you feel a difference, you take it, right? And you know that it's the roots, it's not just treating the leaves. I love that story. That's so fun. And the cool thing is like it works on, because it's adaptogenic, somebody with low blood sugar like Troy had, or somebody with high blood sugar, either one can take it because it's adaptogenic. It doesn't force the body. So that is an awesome story. I love it. And I love your picture. Thank you, Val. Okay, so you might be brand new. Like I said, you might not have even started a program, or you might have fallen off the wagon. Everybody does it, right? So the best time, I love this saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is today. So we invite you to connect with your mentor. I love this little picture because the little tree is in the hand. It reminds me of mentorship, right? You're not alone here. The structure of the company, and really from Greg's passion, it's been structured so that we walk arm in arm with you along your journey. And so, Greg, would you chime in again and kind of give us a real quick little the story about kind of how you were mentored into finding answers for Donna, and then how that led you into starting Soul?
Yeah, you bet. There's not enough time for me to tell the story because it was years in the making, but let me just share one aspect from it. It was a lot of people willing to share, and a lot of people willing to build friendships and relationships, and then a combination of things that led us to the answers of adaptogens. And to Denise's point, in thinking back, we wouldn't be at the point we're at now without all of those relationships. And honestly, so many of them helped us through whatever the storm was that we had to overcome to learn that next part of it. As I look back at the storms, and there were a few, there were some really difficult ones in life. We got through them because of friends and mentors. And these are people who had experienced some of that themselves and could share it. That's really what we had in mind when we founded Soul, and the whole reason we chose to found Soul direct to market, a multi-level environment done correctly is a mentor marketing environment, because someone is helping you. And I know from experience now, 10 years, right? We just celebrated 10 years, that Soul leaders, this is a culture from the very start that has been taught and lived by each of them. And I think it's what attracts such wonderful people. So I can tell you, if you're newer, or if you're going to listen to the recording, just connect with your mentor. They're not going to connect with you and leave you and move on. They'll stay with you. And I think that is the secret to success, both in nutritional and other endeavors. And I just want to say, Denise, one thing that they did for us, and I'll just conclude with this comment. For last week was our 10-year anniversary of the company. And several of the employees did this really sweet thing for us as founders. You've seen these services where you can collect photos, digital photos, and then they'll bind them into a book. I think you can get those most places, right? In most states, probably all of them. They did that for us. They painstakingly went back and found a bunch of pictures and presented us with these lovely books. And written on the cover, this is what was written on the cover. I'm going to get my book. I'll read it to you because it has to do with this. Well, I don't know if you can see that in my picture. That's the cover of the book. They've got all these nice pictures in here. And underneath that logo, here's what it says. Soul Naturals, changing lives through nutrition, opportunity, and service. Well, I really like that summary because mentors don't just share something and let you fend for yourself. They'll actually change your life. That's what we want to do. We want to be a change for good through nutrition, through opportunity, and through service. Back to you.
I love that. Thank you so much. That was awesome. And I kind of think of it as, you know, the consistency over time concept with your health too. It's the same with building relationships with your mentor. And the cool thing about it is I know every person on this call has at least one mentor, but probably a whole bunch of mentors because we are one big happy family. You know, we're different teams on this call. It doesn't matter to us. We're here to help. And we want to, you know, make the mission of Soul go forward. So thank you so much for all your contribution, Greg, and for having the vision to start the company. I appreciate it so much. It's impacted my life. And I know everyone that is on a Soul program on this call, it has impacted theirs greatly too. So thank you so much.
Thank you for all the wonderful mentoring.
Okay, so and it just gets better. Okay, so this is a program that makes it easier to share with it. If you're having great success with a program, and as you were going through this lesson, you thought of somebody, well, this is a great opportunity to reach out and help them. So you get to, if you know somebody that could benefit, whether you're a member, whether you're brand new, you know, it will show you how to do this, okay? If you help somebody, you have a code that you can give them and they get $10 off their first order and you get 10 rewards points, which 1 point is $1. So it is such a great program. And I'm sure you're used to these types of programs because they are used a lot because it's a great way to introduce people. So ask your mentor again, because they can give you the details if you don't know quite where to find that, but we're here to help you, okay? And we, and on that note, we do this every Monday. So those people that you know could be helped, I'm sure, like I wanted to help my daughter-in-law. I want to help my clients. There are people that I think of all the time. It's like, I want to help them. So they are welcome to come to these calls on Monday evenings so that they can learn more about Soul too. And if you're thinking that you really want to share this, like this is important stuff and the world, especially now, needs it, right? We need to be able to weather storms. So there is a special that you can get a virtual kit instead of a physical kit for $25. And you can start a business that has unlimited potential for $25. That's crazy, okay? Anybody who knows anything about business knows that's crazy, but Soul does it. So like I said, again, connect with your mentor. So this is what you've probably been waiting for, right? We're gonna see who the winners are. And Rachel, could you unmute? I know you've been keeping track of our guest tonight, and
I'm here. I'm here.
Yay. Okay, so Rachel's going to tell us who the winners are.
All right. Are we ready
We're-
for the bucket of fun? Okay.
We're
All
ready.
right. Let's see. So we have three things. The first thing we're giving away is the Infatuate water bottle. So let me see. The winner is Sue Acosta. Sue Acosta wins the Infatuate water bottle. That's a pretty cool thing too. I love how you open up the bottom. It's pretty cool. Okay, so we got that one. Now the next prize is coasters, Soul Naturals coasters. We know we need those. Come on. All right, who's the winner? The winner is Stacy Parker. Stacy Parker, congratulations. So both, just make sure that you let whoever invited you here, make sure everybody that they get the address to the right people here to Soul. All right, so the last prize is the green Soul Natural stainless steel bottle. That is amazing. That's one of my favorites. Okay, so let's see who's the winner, chicken dinner. Okay, we have Lisa Puckett. Congratulations to everyone who won. Woohoo!
Yay,
Love
thank
free stuff.
yes, we do.
Congratulations.
Yes, we do. Okay, thank you so much, Rachel. Rachel gets to do the bucket of fun for a reason, right? Okay, well, thank you. I guess I stopped sharing. Somebody stopped sharing my screen for me. Okay, can we say clueless? Anyway, I haven't looked at any of the chats, but anyway, thank you for being on, and connect with your mentor, because we are here to help, and we want to walk this journey with you. So thank you so much for being here, and we hope to see you on the next call with a guest. All right, good night.